Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Cody, your tarot reader on the channel of Cody Tarot. Okay, so let's get into the topic of today's reading. Today is going to be who is coming towards you in love. I got this idea in my little area on my little YouTube section where it talks about what other readers are doing and stuff. And Dream Moon Tarot did this reading, and so I just wanted to do my own version of this. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's see, we have 5 piles in front of us, and yeah, let's just get right into it. So Lepidolite is the first group, group 1, or reflective stone. Group 2 is the Snakeskin Agate. Group 3 is the Citrine. Group 4 is the Rainbow Obsidian. And group 5, lastly, is the Rose Quartz. So take all the time you need to pick your pile. Remember, the reading is who is coming towards you in love. I'm really excited to get into this reading for obvious reasons. It's a love reading, and who doesn't love that? And yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see who the next person is that's coming in that's either like interested in us, we're gonna get into a relationship with, or whatever it is coming through, we're gonna be calling it out in this reading. So without further ado, oh yeah, pause the video here if you need to select your pile. But other than that, without further ado, we're gonna start and get into with group 1, the Lepidolite. Hey, group 1, if you chose the Lepidolite. So we're gonna get into your reading right now about who's coming next in love for you, who's coming towards you in love. I have 4 different decks we're gonna be using today. I decided to shuffle all the decks on camera, so let's get into it. To represent you and this other person, I'm gonna have you over here by the Lepidolite, and I'm gonna have them over here by the Rose Quartz. Also, because of these readings, sometimes I mix the people up. So some people watching this might feel like they're this person. Some people might feel like they're this person. But I'm going to be tailoring focus as if you're this person, okay? Okay, we have the bat. And for your person, we have the hawk. Now I'm going to pull a Love Story Oracle card and a Moonology Manifestation card for, okay. We have 2, so I think I'm going to take both. I'll figure out a way to set this up so we have enough space. We have gifts and we have romance. So I'll put those right there. I think that'll do the trick. Maybe I can separate these further and get, yeah, that'll work, because then I can get the 3rd card in there. Sometimes when I do the first pile, it like determines how the rest of the reading kind of goes. Like the fact that 2 cards come out, it's like, okay, the cards we need to pull 2 cards for this group, you know, or the rest of the reading, I tend to go with that and then pull 2 cards for the rest of the reading. So a lot of readers like thoroughly plan their pick of cards or their spreads and stuff. And for me, sometimes you have to like improvise because the cards want to do their own thing. We have this card, we have New Moon in Leo, Shine. Now let's get into your tarot cards. I haven't used this deck. This is a fun deck. It's like all the like hippie style cards. And I haven't used it in a while. I'm being called right now not to take reversals, so I'm not going to take reversals for this. funny, if you guys pick pile 1, you get my more like chatty side, because by the time I get to the 5th pile, I'm like too exhausted. The reading is like where I can do most of the talking and stuff, but like the little small talk stuff I struggle with. It's probably because I'm an introvert. Okay. A little crowded in here, but that's okay. Okay, let's see what your tarot cards are. So for the bat person, we have 10 of Pentacles, the Devil, 9 of Swords, and for the hawk person, we have the Fool, 10 of Swords, and we have the Chariot. Okay, let's get into the reading. Okay, so some of the messages weren't coming through as strongly in the beginning when I was looking this over, so I had to kind of like push my third eye open a little bit to get like the rest of the reading, and that's where this started to make sense for me. Okay, let's get into it. So first of all, let's address the cool factor of the relationship. We have a bat and a hawk person. They're both air signs. They're both flying creatures. So for me, this signifies that both people in this connection, you and them, both want your freedom and your independence. So as far as someone in a love relationship is concerned, this is really good because two of the same signs are like very compatible, especially in typical astrology. Typical astrology. So for example, we have an air sign here and an air sign here. That would create some compatibility, you know, like Gemini, Aquarius, Aquarius, Libra, Libra, Gemini, stuff like that. You guys might be air signs yourselves, but that's of lesser importance in the reading itself as far as it resonating. But if that is like good for confirmation for you, like take that. With hawk and bat, it's interesting because bats are also nocturnal, and hawks, I believe, especially with this light coming around him in the red, orange, and yellow, I'm getting vibes of the sun, like a sunstone, basically. And the hawks that I know, I always see out in the day or like flying around in the daytime. And so the bats are kind of more nocturnal. There might be something where your guys' schedules don't line up right at the bat. Like you're really interested in each other, but your schedules don't line up right off the bat. I'm seeing, first of all, that the other person is very strongly, with the Chariot here, motivated to get towards you. Like with the Chariot, this reminds me of the chase, right? He's like in a chariot, he has the sphinxes, he's like going, he's moving forward. This reminds me of the chase. This person wants to kind of chase you. This is the next person coming in love for you. So it's interesting because on one hand, there's like this whole element of freedom, but a lot of times when I see you with like people who are like appreciative of freedom, they like kind of the adventure of the relationship, or at least that's what I'm seeing right here. So this hawk person I see as being very adventurous and kind of liking the adventure of trying to chase you, of trying to get you kind of in courting you, basically. With the bat card and the hawk, what I was mentioning with the schedules earlier, with this one being night and this one being day, there might be some cool factors about like you guys might be attracted to each other at first because of your opposite inclinations. One being more of a, you might be a night owl more specifically, and they might be more of a like wake up at 8 a.m. type of person, or even like 6 a.m. God forbid. I'm a night owl, so sometimes the waking up early is difficult for me. But yeah, basically it's just a mismatch of schedules. And this doesn't have to be night and day focused, like they're a nocturnal person and you're a nocturnal person, they're a daytime person. It could be switched in the other way where you're daytime, they're nocturnal, or just something with your schedules. Like maybe your work schedule is the same time that they have their free time, or maybe, you know, their work schedule is, you know, different than your free time, or maybe they have obligations they need to take care of so they can't spend time with you. So there's something about a timing conflict coming in here with this next person coming into love with you. But I can definitely see that you guys are really drawn to each other. And we see here with gifts and romance, immediately right off the bat, get it, bat card. You really want to make this work, right? You really want to make this work. You really want to make this a thing. You're both very focused on your freedom at this point when you're entering this relationship. Now, this could be traits that you guys have and you've had your whole life, like you've always been focused on freedom. Or for some of you coming to this reading, this is kind of your current state of mind. Like maybe in the past, you've had some really solid, you know, connections that were like really, really committed, and you tied yourself down a lot, and now you're in this mode where you want to be free, right? So it's going to reflect in your relationships, where you want the kind of like freedom in your relationships. And I'm just getting the message that for some of you were more tied yourself down a lot in commitments, and then this other person that you're coming into contact with has always been free, or has always had this kind of freedom about they never wanted to be tied down, and you're used to being tied down, but you're kind of exploring this new kind of freedom side, or vice versa. There's something about being in alignment with each other's vibrations as of like what you want out of each other in the relationship. There is this sense of like independence, not stifling each other, letting each other fly where you need to go. Like there's no possessive attitudes in this kind of connection, which is very, very cool. It's something with the air nature, right? How wind can kind of flow everywhere and kind of be, sometimes there and sometimes not, and kind of being invisible. It's almost like there's this ethereal quality to your connection. Yeah, I'm seeing something that is like surprising and wonderful for both parties is for you with the gifts card and the bat. What we have right here is that the fact is like, you're going to be surprised at how generous this person is towards you. Like this person is probably going to give you lots of gifts, lots of lavish luxurious items. This is also could be a symbol of how you view the person coming into your life. Like this person's a gift from the universe. Like this person kind of just came in out of the blue, and you're like, whoa. And you can kind of feel that this is a reward for you from like the universe. Like the universe is kind of like, it's time. We're here to give it to you. We're here to give you this person, So that could be another thing that they could seem like a gift as well. But there is something about gift giving where they're very generous, or it's almost like you're able to receive gifts. So if in the past you struggled with receiving gifts from people, this is going to be different in this connection. If you're used to that kind of acknowledgement, if you're used to people kind of buying you things and treating you and stuff like that, this is not going to seem too unfamiliar. This is just something that's kind of like their love language, is like giving gifts to you. So you're going to be receiving a lot of gifts. And that's really cool. Who doesn't like to receive gifts every now and then? And this person's going to be really surprised at how romantic you are towards them, right? Your spark of romance and keeping the connection alive and the flame alive. It's quite interesting because bats, because they are nocturnal, I'm seeing like a lot of kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, like candlelit dinners, or with the bat and making me think of vampires and stuff. I'm thinking like red wine and like drinking wine on the like on like the roof of like a moonlit night or something like that, and like cuddling up in like sleeping bags. Or this, it seems like you kind of bring out your creative side as far as like how you want to do the activities with your person, like the stuff you're thinking of doing and what you want to bring to the table gets brought out in this connection. And they really appreciate that. They appreciate the fact that you're thinking of all these different things, thinking of all these different ideas of like what to do and how to do it and all that kind of stuff. Just in general, I think you're going to feel a lot of romantic feelings towards this person, and specifically in expressing romantic feelings. Like this is kind of one of those whirlwind kind of vibes, like right off the bat, We see here that there's some other things going on in your guys' lives, or each of your respective lives. But mainly with this reading, I was seeing these bottom cards as like less important and more focused on these top cards as important. So maybe that is going to resonate for some of you. By the time I get down to here, you'll understand that. And with new moon and Leo shine, this is just indicating that with new moon, it's like the energies are very like peaceful and calm. Because sometimes with a full moon, you can get like wild, crazy energies, or the energy feels like it's brimming, it's like a very potent. This is more of a calm, chill, vibey kind of connection. This is kind of the beginning or start of something. So even if you guys decide not to get into a relationship, it feels like newness. It's kind of like this person comes in and you're like, whoa, this is kind of refreshing, or this is kind of sweet, or this is kind of lovely, and it gets you guys to both shine and be your best persons, basically. That the shine card ties in with the entire reading, so I'll probably keep coming back to it. But let's get into the tarot cards now. So first, with both people being in their respective side, I already covered a little bit about the Chariot with the hawk person. They're very sexually drawn to you, and this is also a thing about them. They're very motivated right now. Like their libido is really high, and that's just because they've been very active, busy, accomplishing things. The black and white energy of the Chariot is all about yin and yang energy, but also the movement of that yin and yang energy. So it is kind of more focused on like a yang side, you know? It's more focused, it's like the yang in from the, how do I put this? Where the High Priestess is more like a yin, like receiving messages, intuitive messages and stuff like that. The Chariot is more like the will, the action, kind of like making those things happen with the, you know, the High Priestess is like the battle plan, and the Chariot's almost like the kind of like the action, the willpower, the thrusting. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Okay, so, and then for the Bat person, we have this element where the Bat person is spending a lot of time with family, especially when I get the 10 of Pentacles. This could indicate like other family members besides your immediate family, like cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, you know, grandchildren, stuff like that. And you're really focused on these family values at this point in your life. What I'm seeing for a lot of people with the Bat card is it's almost like because this message was coming to me earlier, is that there's almost like this dependence on other relationships. And now there's this aspect of like freedom in your life. And with the 10 of Pentacles here, it's almost like you're anchoring down with your family. Like you're letting your family be kind of like your anchor in this particular moment of time. Now it's interesting, the Hawk person also had this element where like he kind of left this group behind that he was a part of, and almost in a way got ostracized by this group, and kind of realized that they were like very different from this group, or like the group wasn't jiving with them, and they kind of left this group completely behind. And that's kind of what's drawing them to you, is like you're this kind of like new, like we got with the new moon in Leo, the shine, the fresh energy. You're like this fresh energy that's very different from their previous friend group that they had, and they're kind of looking for that change of pace, looking for something different to kind of like get on board with as far as like a romantic connection. Because I mean, their previous friends, although they were like good friends and stuff, they didn't really treat them that well. And it's almost like this card can represent like so many insults by multiple different people. You know, the 10 of Swords, because it's multiple swords in one guy's back, it can indicate like being stabbed in the back by the whole group, you know? So there could have been some kind of betrayal or embarrassing moment that they had to deal with. And they might bring that up in the relationship with you, that they kind of had to deal with this kind of like embarrassing moment with their previous friend group, or this previous group of people, I should say, that kind of like led them to like kind of get out of there, basically. This is another reason why they're like so motivated, or that they keep this motivation going, is because they don't have anything tying them down. They don't have anyone tying them down. And that's another reason why they like their freedom. You know, they're always, I mean, this does not surprise me that this happened, because this person actually, interestingly enough, because the 10 of Swords is here with this Hawk person, this person might not be the most socially adept person. They might like be, because they're so freedom loving, they probably encountered this group of people and kind of like stayed with them for a little bit, but they kind of like, it's either like one of two things. Either the group didn't really connect with them fully and they couldn't build that close bond with them, or someone in the group was annoyed with them and that person had more like power over the opinions of the rest of the group, and so the group just decided to kick them out. Either way, not a good situation, whether you're not really connecting with someone fully or you get kicked out of the group. That's the reason why they're like free flying. They're more focused on their activities, right? And what we see is by the time they get to you with the Fool card, there's this element of like being totally free and like waiting for new beginnings, right? And the Fool is kind of reiterating this information in the Leo card with the new moon in Leo. There is this idea of freshness, of newness that's kind of coming in between, that's coming within the relationship, basically. Now, you, on the other hand, with the family thing, it looks like with the Devil card upright, there were some kind of like attachments that you're processing. And I can see this is kind of psychological, but it's causing you a little bit of grief before you meet this person. So even though you're like free flying and exploring yourself, basically, and kind of like exploring how to be like, how do I put this? Even though you're like exploring how to be free and unencumbered and kind of letting things go. With the Devil card here, it shows that it's still a struggle for you to let some of these past things go. And so this could be a past relationship, because I'm seeing the family thing is kind of very vibey and a good thing for you, that the fact that you're with your family at this time. But with the Devil card upright, this is indicating like some kind of attachment or some kind of indicating of not being able to let go of a specific situation. This could also be materialism, in the sense that you're spending a lot on like indulgences. Like you could be shopping a lot, or maybe you're overeating, or you're like eating out all the time at like restaurants, and you're like spending too much money out on food, or something like that. There is this element of kind of like overindulging the senses and overindulging the mind. And it's all because it's almost like you can't let go of certain relationships in your past. And so it's interesting, because of this, it's causing a little bit of anxiety. So when you get into this connection with this person, there is kind of a problem area for this connection, where it's almost like with this person, it's almost like when they come into play, there might be a little bit of anxiety on your part because of this unprocessed, like emotional stuff with like your past connections or past relationships, right? Now I see that they're still like consciously what you want, right? There's just some subconscious or unconscious. It's like there's some subconscious information that's still being processed in you, basically. And we see that here with this person waking up from their bed in their dreams with the swords melting. The good news is you can imagine these swords as all these anxieties, right? And you can imagine, because they're melting, they're kind of fading away, right? They're kind of like dissipating, or you're blasting through them. You're heating them up to mold them into like nothingness, or to heat them into nothingness, basically. Yeah, it's interesting. And I'm also seeing the peace signs of this devil, how he's like making peace signs is like a good sign for this kind of stuff, that like, even though you're processing this stuff and it's kind of like difficult, and you might feel like it's holding you back, it's gonna feel better eventually. Like it's gonna get better eventually. It's just interesting that this person came in. It's almost like, somehow it's like, you know, we talk about manifesting and how like your subconscious manifests your reality, and like you have to realign your subconscious and stuff like that. Somehow you guys figured out how to manifest like your conscious desires, or figure out like, this is consciously what I want. And so you're bringing that in with this hawk person. And I see that the relationship is really beneficial, really like great. And it's interesting with this Fool and this, Nine of Swords card, it's indicating a few things. So first, the bat's a nocturnal animal, right? And this Nine of Swords card, you're assuming this is at night. This person's waking up in their bed at night, kind of like upset and stuff. And this card can deal with like insomnia and stuff like that. So it might be that with the schedules and realigning with the schedules, it might be better for you guys to align with the hawk person's schedule, because you might realize that it might actually, if you can align with it, I mean, if it has to do with like responsibilities with like family and stuff, sometimes you can't do that kind of thing. But if you can align with the hawk person's schedule, you're might move more into this Fool energy, right? And you can see the Fool right here, the sun in the background shining down on the situation. And that's just indicating that this sun is shining on these swords and melting them away. So it's almost like with your schedule, or the schedule you've got going on right now, it's actually hindering you just a little bit, because it's almost like their schedule is going to be a better fit for you right now. It's almost like to line up is a better fit. Now it's interesting because I don't see you guys instinctively wanting to do this, because you both are animals that fly, right? This specifically talks about freedom and wanting to give your partner a lot of space and let them live their own lifestyle and stuff like that. But if you kind of adapt to their lifestyle, it's going to make things a lot more fresh, and it's going to bring in this shine card a lot more. And with these sunflowers, like these sunflowers on the bottom of this card, how they always open to the sun, right? There is this element that like, if you kind of align with their schedule a little bit, it's almost like you're going to start to blossom, or you're going to start to open up, or you're going to be able to blast that shadowy energy out of your subconscious and kind of away from you, and heal that, basically. And it's interesting, you don't even have to do that much deep shadow work to do it. I know sometimes we don't like to do, you know, the shadow work, and it's like, sometimes it's like, well, I know there's some stuff holding me back in my subconscious, but I'm not quite sure how to get there, and I'm not quite sure how to do the shadow work to like undo the subconscious stuff to like make it. This is kind of like something you don't have to worry about in this particular connection. You just have to remember that there is some stuff that's like still inside you, basically, that your in subconscious is still processing, right? Consciously, I can see you're like totally over it. You're like ready to move on. You're ready for this new partnership. You're ready for a new connection. So I definitely see that that's really positive with both of you coming together, but now kind of getting your vibes on their level. You can think of like when we dream and stuff, our subconscious is more active when we're dreaming. So it's like if you realign your circadian rhythms with theirs, it's like your subconsciouses can kind of meet in the middle and kind of like play with each other, right? And they can kind of help you on that level where your relationship was just conscious before. Their subconscious and your subconscious can kind of blend a little bit and like figure some things out, you know? You can think of this as like a form of psychic communication, if that helps. But it's like psychic communication. You don't have to like, how do I put this? You don't have to like stress about or use any effort to communicate. Like you don't have to send them messages or anything. It's just something that's also beneficial here that would be really positive is like sleep. Not necessarily like you don't have to like sleep with this person right away as in like sexually and stuff. But something that could benefit you is like spending the night with them or like sleeping in the same like time period as they do, and like maybe even taking naps together would benefit, because something about both of you being in the dream world at the same time is going to be really, really beneficial for this kind of connection. Yeah, with new moon and Leo, this relationship coming in, like you can think of the new moon and Leo as like a blank slate, right? Like a new moon is kind of like a blank slate. Like you get to create whatever you want to create. It's the beginnings, it's the start, it's something fresh. We also have the Fool energy here, and that's basically what they feel when they get towards you. And basically when you start to move towards them or merge with them a little bit, these anxieties start to fade away. But it's like, it's a very fresh energy. I think Leo is, oh man, I'm trying to remember the names of the signs. I know there's cardinal, mutable, and fixed. Oh yeah, Leo's a fixed sign. So this is kind of a stability in this kind of connection. There is an element of stability to it. Overall, a really cool connection coming in for you guys. As far as like this person possibly being your, someone you would like get married to or something like that, or someone that's like a soulmate or something like that. I'm definitely picking up soulmate vibes. I don't know about future spouse. Definitely you guys are meant to be romantic together in this lifetime. I mean, this is kind of what this reading is supposed to be about, is like your next romantic connection. And we definitely see that here with the romance. There's just a lot of like really connection on that intimate level. That's like really, a lot of things are going to line up. So like specifically like your guys' physical desires, like how you are intimately with each other is kind of going to line up. Other things like that's going to line up. They're just, the only thing really that's like off for you guys is like the schedule. And in a weird way, the fact that you both want freedom, and there is a sense that it would be more beneficial if you kind of merged with each other just a little bit. I know you both want to give each other so much freedom and so much space, but if you merge just a little bit, and you don't even have to do this, like you don't have to like tell them you're merging with them, right? You can just basically be like, every once in a while, like just succumb to kind of what their schedule is, if that makes sense. Kind of go to their schedule. Yeah, I see almost like if you pull them into your schedule, it's going to get a little, you're going to feel more into this like kind of like Nine of Swords energy. And you might still have some anxieties and stuff. It's specifically kind of like their lifestyle and stuff that would help you feel less anxious. So yeah, really cool. Yeah, they're definitely drawn to you physically at the first. I can see that like possibly you guys starting a physical connection right away, like having like a physical connection right away. And even if you don't have a physical connection right away, they're definitely drawn to you. So whatever your life situation is, if you're not trying to get intimate right away, that's okay too. So anyway, that's your reading. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. If you like that reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really like the reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 2 with the Snakeskin Agate. Hey group 2, this is if you picked the Snakeskin Agate right here, this really cool stone where that white and that clear is supposed to look like snakeskin. So that's why it's called Snakeskin Agate. I think when you polish it down, it kind of looks like the skin of a snake. So very cool stone. I read somewhere, and I can never find this, that apparently snakeskin agate, like if you wear it, can help you become invisible if you want to use it for that. Otherwise, I think it, like, as far as chakras go, it activates the crown, the solar plexus, and the root. So pretty interesting stone. All right, let's get into your reading. I'm going to be shuffling on camera today. And so we're going to start with the Animal Spherical Oracle deck by Kim Krans we're going to have you over here, them over here. Now, keep in mind, if it's like, whoa, they sound like me, and the person you're reading for, doesn't sound like me, but the person that's over here sounds like me, that's going to be something to take in consideration. It's probably you're coming to this pile because you're resonating more with this side than this side, right? So you're going to have both people when they pick this crystal resonating with one side or the other, but I am going to read as if this is you over here. So just keep that in mind, that if you resonate with this side over here, that's okay. You didn't pick the wrong pile, especially if you are resonating with this side over here. If you don't resonate with either group, maybe you picked the wrong pile. But let's just get into your reading. Okay, so for you, we have horse. And for them, we have fox. Oh my gosh. It's a lot of... the last group had similar elements for compatibility. Okay, now we're going to draw the Love Story Oracle cards for both of you guys. Trying something new this time, where I'm not... like each group is getting their own card. So as I go through the groups, I'm setting the cards aside that were in the previous group. So we're gonna have no repeating cards for any of the groups. So I'm trying that out today. Normally I don't do stuff like that. Okay, so for the horse person, we have chemistry. And for the fox person, your person, two, but I'm going to take the top one. So we had two come out for you guys. I'm going to show you both self-worth and self-love. I'm actually going to take both. I'll keep both up here. 26 and 27, interesting. So I'll just put self-worth right below self-love. We'll have to remember that mirror is there, because that might be important, the mirror card. We'll see. I'm feeling self-worth on the bottom though, so we'll leave that there. Yeah, and then we're going to get a Moonology manifestation card to get the kind of gist of the connection, what's going on, and anything else we need to know and uncover. Okay, all these flew out. I'm going to take the one on the bottom. We have first quarter moon in Gemini. Speak your world into being. And then we are going to draw some tarot cards. Hope you guys are doing all right today. Thank you for coming to my reading. Okay, I'm not taking reversals, by the way, today. So interesting. Okay. Let's see, it's all in the shot. Okay. Okay, this is an interesting reading. So as I was dissecting this, some things that stuck out to me like right away with the moon card here, there's going to be a general feeling of, at least so far as I understand the reading, is like you probably won't be able to fully understand this person, and it all becomes from your perspective in the Tower card. And with the chemistry card, there's a big physical attraction here, but that's also because of the Tower card. So we will get into it. So first off, with your guys' connection with Fox and the Horse, there is an element, because you guys are the same element, you're both earth signs, right up there, that little triangle with the line through it, upside down triangle with the line through it. You're both earth signs, so there is going to be like a really nice compatibility. There's a sense of stability in this connection, and it's something that both of you really admire and like about the other one. Now it's interesting, I read with this deck, I read all the flying creatures as like appreciating freedom and needing their space and needing some time apart from each other, or like needing some like space and stuff. With earth sign energy, I definitely get the vibe that like people who are content to kind of be where they are, like not necessarily advance themselves, or how do I put this? Advance is the wrong word. Not necessarily like desiring adventure per se, but just looking for something stable, maybe something committed, maybe something grounded. Yeah, and I see that it starts out that way with this connection, at least in the beginning. That's kind of like the instincts here. But it's interesting, the Horse is a very like intuitive being. I did this spread a long time ago where I aligned all the animal oracle cards in my deck, and I did a special kind of like study reading for myself. And the Horse lined up with the Queen of Cups. And so that's kind of what it's reminding me here. And especially that this moon, I'll try to show you guys this. Especially this moon in the Horse card right here with that kind of crescent moon in the horse's forehead reminds me of this person being very psychically in tune. So I feel like you're the type of person who is very grounded, yet at the same time very psychic. So you probably want something stable and committed, and committed might even be the wrong word too. You're just looking for something stable and like drama free, basically. Like I see these earth signs as kind of like drama free, kind of looking for that rooted sense of something. But it's interesting because we say that you guys want the drama free connection, and you're most inclined to like match each other on that level to create kind of like a complementary situation for both of you. But with this chemistry card, I also think of chemistry as like, on one hand, like mixing chemicals together to make something new, but also in chemistry, there's like explosions, and there's like a lot of risk with chemistry, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And I always see the chemistry person as someone who's playing around with different things, right? And that also comes from the Fox's side too, as far as the Fox kind of like having a sense of curiosity towards you. But basically with the Horse card, with this chemistry card, I'm seeing this more for you in the sense that like with the chemistry with the Fox, you're looking for that kind of like chemistry with someone. And the reason is with the Page of Wands and the Tower here, you're getting in touch with your darker side, your darker instincts, in order to see how that kind of like shadow projection is kind of like to find the correct partner for you. So it's interesting because it's almost like you might be doing this on a subconscious level or consciously, depending on how in tune you are with those psychic emotions and those psychic energies within you. But yeah, I'll get to the tarot cards in a little bit. It's hard to like not integrate the two because in the last group they were kind of separate, but this group they're very like integrated. But yeah, with the Fox person and with the Horse person, it's interesting. It's like whether you're consciously aware of looking for this or not, as the Horse person, you're seeking out partners that are a part of your shadow, or like your darker side, right? Or your destructive side, or your kind of like shadow nature, right? The parts of you that you don't really like so much, or the parts of you that you sweep under the rug or you don't deal with, or stuff like that. You're kind of projecting those elements out onto your environment, and you're looking for partners with those kind of things in them. And I'm seeing specifically with the Fox, and the Fox being kind of cunning, I'm imagining like a thief, someone who kind of like maybe it's not like stealing. It's just like someone who's very cunning and kind of uses like everything at their disposal to kind of get what they need, you know, kind of a sly person. I definitely see that you have this kind of more, I guess you could say like darkly persuasive nature, that like when you're upset or when you like get into a dark place, like you start to persuade and manipulate people to get what you want, is kind of what I'm seeing here. And because of that, this is kind of the person you're drawing in. Someone who kind of like already is kind of persuading people all the time, but they don't do it on necessarily like a really deep, dark revenge level, right? Like with the horse person I'm seeing over here, that like, also for some of you, you might be exceedingly strong or have like natural strength, because the horse can represent natural strength, or like sometimes with like bodybuilding, you know, the horse can represent strength like that. This can also mean that you're an incredibly strong person in general, and a lot of this shadow stuff is not coming from a place of you being weak, but coming from a place of you being strong and wanting to deal with these things head on, right? Yeah, with Page of Wands here, I see definitely when you start this connection with this fox person, you're open for kind of like a more adventurous relationship. Like you're coming at it from a place of like youthfulness and kind of like a sense of like assessing the situation, like a curious child or a curious baby when they like get a new toy or something. They're kind of like assessing it or playing with it. It's like a sense of learning, like you're learning how to kind of adapt and deal with this type of personality. And that's where this chemistry card comes in pretty strongly, is in the fact that like with this chemistry card, you're like playing around. There's a sense that these two components, these two people have not met before. And what I'm seeing here underlying all of this kind of like discovery, playfulness, kind of like a sense of adventurous spirit with both of you. And the chemistry, just having that kind of excitement of like, ooh, these two components, like what happens if they meet? I've never been with this type of person before, you know, and they're kind of alluring to me. The reason they're alluring to you is because they represent part of your shadow. Now that can create a really positive connection at times, but sometimes it can also be frustrating. What I see here with the self-love, and I'll just point out the self-worth card again with that mirror right there. There are elements of mirroring in this connection, just in general, of you mirroring kind of like, or them mirroring your shadow side. And so with the self-love and self-worth here, this is almost like a part of their job and responsibility towards you. There's an element of like self-love and self-worth where like you guys grow to become more, stable and more loving towards each other, and you get each other to love parts of yourself that you kind of neglected, right? So it's almost like the fact that you're seeking this out, or you're looking for this destructive side of you in a more conscious way in someone else, someone who's has more like integrated it into their personality. This kind of connection is going to be like very healing and very beneficial for both of you. Although at the same time, a little mysterious, right? Because you're working from each other's, like what one person, like, how do I put this? Almost like what one person does consciously, the other person's doing subconsciously, and vice versa. But the thing is, it's interesting because it's almost like one-sided towards your needs and your situation. And that's where we get into this moon card, right? Where it's like, what's going on with them is almost like invisible to you. And I think that's something that like what's going on with you is invisible to them as well. And that's like the really interesting thing here, is because this moon card represents illusions, or kind of having a veil, or kind of like not being able to see past this veil. So imagine this veil between both of you, you know, and kind of like a struggle right there. But even though that veil is closed and you can't really see your partner's shadow side, you can kind of just imagine like it's going to be something similar to what your conscious side is, just a darker, kind of more evil version of it. Think of like this person when they get angry as like your evil twin, right? Like they could match you point for point, right? In an argument or something like that, or you could really get on the same level with them. It's interesting because with the Tower card and the destructive energies here, you're almost flirting with disaster in a sense. If you got into a fight with this person, I'm not saying you will, but if you did get into a fight with this person in your connection, you would be able to use the same tools that they're using when they're upset. Say you're calm and they're upset, like you'd be able to use the same tools to kind of help them or deal with the argument. So imagine kind of like, it's almost like fighting yourself on steroids is the best way to put it. And And that would be only if you guys got into a fight. I'm not really seeing that too much in here on if you guys get into a fight or anything like that. Because for the most part with self-love and self-worth and chemistry, I'm seeing that the shadow side, more so than like causing arguments or anything like that, forming a really strong physical attraction, like really strong intimate connection, and kind of having that explosive magical effect that the chemistry of two people has. And with self-love and self-worth, this kind of connection ultimately like brings you guys kind of like a stronger sense of self-love and self-worth in each other. Like they're really going to make you feel like you're worthy and vice versa. And you guys kind of mirror that to each other. But the reason is because it's like you're almost looking at yourself from the outside and you're kind of seeing yourself objectively. Like you're seeing your dark side in like a positive light, right? Like someone who's integrated it, someone who's made it conscious, someone who's made it like their lifestyle or the way they function in the world. And whenever we have a conscious attribute like that, we keep that conscious attribute because we're proud of it, right? We're like proud of having that conscious attribute. And that's how it's kind of coming into to play here. The horse also kind of can remind me of confidence too sometimes. And I see that you're already very confident, and this just makes you even more confident. Sometimes it's like the fox needs a little more healing than the horse does, right? Even though you're the one looking for that kind of connection with the chemistry, you're looking for that kind of opposite attracts, kind of like, how do I put this? Really like intense vibe, intense connection. And it's interesting, you guys have all of it too, because I see that underlying this whole connection too, I know I'm talking a lot about all this intensity, all this like intense scorpionic kind of vibes here, Plutonian vibes, but underneath it all, you're both very stable. You're looking for more stable, committed connection. You're very non-dramatic, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't see you guys getting into like crazy fights or emotional crazy things. You know, you're vibing on the same level. And so it creates kind of like an interesting simpatico similarity vibe, as well as kind of like the vibe of like, wow, this person's like me, just wired a little backwards or upside down or something like that. With them getting into the connection, even though you can't see it, we're going to be discussing what's going on with them. With the fox person, they're definitely traveling back into their past to like do some self-discovery, some self-work. And with you, they kind of find this vibe that you kind of feel like something from their past that's kind of like something that was very positive or some positive experience that they had in their past life, basically. Not past life, past this life, but in their past in this life. They have some kind of positive memory when they meet you. And that's one of the reasons why they get connected to you and why they decide to kind of build this romantic connection. On your end, we're seeing that you like them or you get into the romantic connection because you're sensing your own repressed dark side in them. That's kind of where the attraction comes in for you. And whether you're conscious of it or not, it's kind of like there's this mirroring kind of thing going on. And with the fox spirit over here, they're seeing this thing of like, you remind them of someone who was really positive in their past that had a real strong impact on them to the most basic level of what's going on in their emotions. And they've been trying to dig and dig and dig and go into their past because whatever is going on with them, they're upset with their present. And like I said, because you guys mirror each other, you might recognize some of this in your shadow self. Maybe your shadow self is a little upset with, make sure the camera's still on, maybe a little upset with the past or the present or something, or a little not okay with how everything's going on right now. So maybe when you get into like a dark place, you like look at the past and kind of like go there to like find answers when you're really emotionally upset. I'm seeing here that this person, this fox person, kind of likes to go into the past all the time, kind of like on a conscious level, kind of a very like, how do I put this? Like if we could be like highly stressed out and have an escape route and then mildly stressed out and have an escape route, this is their mildly stressed out escape route, right? This is kind of like their vibe of like, you know, like kind of like one of those bad habits that's just not that harmful, but like at the same time, is not the healthiest. They just kind of escape into the past. They're looking for things that brought them joy in the past and not necessarily stuff that is kind of in the present moment, which is what I'm seeing is like something that maybe even you could help them with there. But yeah, that's initially why they're drawn to you, why they're connected to you. Now, this is interesting because there's a whole other aspect in this connection with Speak Your World into Being and the Magician right here that kind of brings your connection into a really cool place, a place where you guys can have like a really good psychic connection, a really strong sense of being able to manifest things, right? The fact that you guys are like one subconscious is the other's conscious and vice versa, I've already touched on that. With the Magician card and the Moon card, this is where it's kind of reiterating, like block these cards off. Just think of these two cards. The Moon, which is all about illusions and subconscious, and the Magician, which is almost like representative of like the sun and kind of like manifestation and kind of like fruition and shining the light on things and getting like having that desire, that impulse to like initiate the magic, right? Like, anyway, there's a chemistry here. There's a chemistry with both of these kinds of cards in this middle ground. And I feel like as you guys kind of come together, this first quarter moon in Gemini indicates a few things with this connection. First, it indicates with the first quarter moon, quarter moons can be a little, how do I put this? A little unstable. Keep in mind that these earth elements are also at play here. So even if it does feel a little unstable, there is a sense of like stability to this whole connection overall. But I'm specifically seeing with this part where you're speaking in kind of messages to the other subconscious. Speak your world into being basically means that you're like helping guide each other through those darker aspects. So there is a kind of teacher-student role played here, where we have on one hand with the horse person like reflecting and the fox person reflecting, there is a sense of self-love, self-worth, and kind of those things kind of flowing really nicely into each other. But with the Magician card, you're actually realigning the other one's subconscious to help them manifest their desires more effectively. So both of your subconsciouses are getting in line with your conscious attitudes, your conscious mind, and it's going to help you like manifest things. So like I said, a lot of you might not be aware of this because what I'm seeing with a lot of the horse people, unless you're really psychically in tune, you're not going to be aware that you're kind of looking for your shadow, and like that's kind of the connection you're looking for, you're desiring. But when you find this person enters your life, there is an element of like affecting the other person's shadow in order to help each other manifest things. So you might realize or notice that like things you discuss in this relationship are things that are actually probably going to come true in your life. So for example, there is an element that like maybe you don't fully understand your person, or maybe there's a sense that you can't fully see them because with the Moon card, that illusionary veil there where you're not really sure why this connection is the way it is. With the Magician card, there's an element that when you guys speak to each other and you talk to each other, you're directly affecting the other one's subconscious or their shadow side that's kind of more repressed, and you're kind of altering that. So there is this sense of like, how do I put this? It really like deep sense of like sensitivity between both parties, right? Not that it's going to cause any fights or anything. It's just that what one says to the other subconscious is really going to affect them to the point where it's going to redirect their life a little bit. So a little like this could be scary if you think about it, but I don't really see it being that scary because with self-love and self-worth, you guys are aligning each other in positive directions, right? Something about the throat chakra is also really prevalent here. So communication between both of you is going to be really strong. There's also elements where you might like really enjoy the sound of their voice or like how they talk. Might be something that really is like pleasing to the senses for each of you. You might get into kind of like verbal play in the romantic sphere of like, you know, talking to each other, like maybe talking dirty or something like that for those of you who are like into the stuff like that. Yeah, and that also goes into like role play and stuff. And so there is an element of like role play that could happen as well because it's like you're in tune with each other's desires and fantasies. Like I said, this chemistry card, there's some potent attraction here. Very kind of like, you know, envious of your connection, I guess, because, you know, who doesn't want that kind of like potent like chemistry when they're like with their next person or the next person coming in. So there's a really strong thing there. What else was I going to say? I think that's about it. I think I covered it all. Yeah, so that's the end of the reading. If you like this reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really like the reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, I really enjoyed reading for you guys, and we're going to move on to group 3 with the Citrine. Hey, group 3, this is if you picked the Citrine. Lovely, pretty citrine stone. That's Congo citrine, actually. fun stuff. Fun fact with this citrine, I went on like a craze and bought tons of citrine because I found out it can like help you manifest money. And so I like went on this craze and I just like bought all this citrine. So now I have like so much citrine, and I'm at the point now where like I don't even like use the citrine. So I might sell a few of these pieces later along down the line of my life, I guess, because I just have like various varieties of like different kinds of citrine. Some I think are even like lemon quartz. But yeah, a little fun snippet into my life. And yeah, anyway. Okay, so we're going to get into your reading about what's coming next towards you in love. And I'm going to like have the cards laid out like this with you over here and them over there and over here. Now, in these readings, you might, if you find you're resonating with this person and you're like really resonating with this person, you're like, whoa, that's me. Then think of this person as your person. But for people coming to this reading, I feel like most people are going to be resonating with this one. But if you do resonate with the other ones, that does happen in tarot readings every once in a while, where, you know, the person that is kind of like you're going to be in the relationship with, or who's coming towards you in love, is actually the person reading the reading, as well as people coming to this general reading to like read the other way. I hope you guys know what I mean. I'm getting a little tongue-tied. But yeah, let's start drawing your cards and we will get into your reading. And okay. We have you represented here by the cheetah card. And we have your person represented over here by the deer card. And then we're going to have these love oracle cards to represent more things about the connection. For the deer person, we have friendship. And let's get one for the cheetah person. We have healing. Oh, that's nice. Okay, and then we're going to have these Moonology manifestation cards. I'm going to pull one for overall for the connection, and then we'll get into the tarot cards. Okay, so which one will be for this connection? We have New Moon and Scorpio, go deeper. Sometimes like I'll get readings and the card will be for you guys, right? Like the card will be for you guys as far as like a message that like ties in with the reading that I'm reading for you. But sometimes when I pull these tarot cards, I'll pull cards that are like cards for you guys that you're watching the reading. And then I'll get cards like this one, go deeper. And then I got an immediate intuitive message like that's for you. Like you need to go deep in this reading. So hopefully I get to that level, because I'm definitely seeing that there is an element that this needs to be discussed pretty, how do I put this, thoroughly. So we'll try to get as deep as possible. Maybe you guys coming to this one, a thorough reading. For your first tarot card, we have the Hermit over here for the deer person. And we're just going to pull the rest of your cards. We have two coming over here for the cheetah person. We have the Empress and the Guru. Whoa, some major arcana energy coming up. 3 major arcana cards. The Guru is the Hierophant. And then for you, we also had, I saw this one flip up, the King of Pentacles. We just need 2 more for the deer. Okay. Oh, and then the High Priestess. Let me make sure these are all. Okay. Let's get into it. Okay. Let's get into your guys' reading. Where should I start? Where should I start? Leave a message in the comments. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's get into it and start with cheetah and deer over here. So first of all, just to point out, the next person coming in, there might be some conflicts as far as like establishing a more romantic connection or a more like intimate connection. It might not be as easy to communicate. We have cheetah over here, which is a fire sign. We have over here, and deer, which is an earth sign, right? So on one hand, we have you over here, which is the cheetah person being represented. Remember what I mentioned at the beginning of the reading? If you more resonate with the deer, you might be the deer person and not the cheetah person. So as we're discussing this, if you resonate with this, you're just gonna have to flip it kind of in your head. But I'm gonna talk with most, my energy going towards the cheetah person. So as far as the cheetah person, cheetah people are exciting and fast-paced, and they like adventure. How do I put this? The cheetah is a predatory animal, and deer are a prey animal in this situation. So the cheetah loves the chase, right? And they're so good at it. Cheetahs are like some of the fastest animals in the animal kingdom. They're good at tracking down their prey. So if you relate to this being like a strong, powerful, kind of like dominant force in your relationships, then this cheetah person is you. Yeah, I definitely see here that you want kind of like a passionate connection, an exciting connection. And with the deer person over here, there is an element that you kind of see that in them, right? Like there is an aspect where you kind of see this kind of like deep connection. Like you're going for the normal chase, right? You're going for the normal, like, okay, I'm going to chase them down. I'm going to use my game. I'm going to say what I need to say to like get, charm them or whatever. And like get them under my sway. Like, I'm a powerful cheetah. Like cheetahs can also maybe have some like, not saying you have ego issues. I'm just saying like cheetahs can also have kind of like a strong sense of self-confidence. We'll call it that, a strong sense of self-confidence, like a strong sense of like who they are. They know what they're capable of. They know what they can do, But it's interesting. I'm also being drawn right here to this cheetah and the fact that cheetahs right there, if you look at him, they have little tears running down their eyes, right? So there is an element that people in your life, or that just maybe some people pick this up in you and you kind of try to hide it, but there is an element of sadness underneath your persona, underneath your character. There's kind of like some hurts. And what we see here with the deer person is they're going to be shining a light on some of those hurts, which may actually be a little uncomfortable in the relationship. Just to point out before you guys get into this, the next person coming in might be the type of person who kind of, not at first, like some people, like I'm sure there's people that that kind of just go up and they try to like psychoanalyze you right off the bat, like, oh, you have this issue and blah, blah, blah. They're not like that. They're more like a slow person. They want to really make sure they understand what's going on before they attempt to commence with the healing. But overall, the general feeling here with the deer to the cheetah person is this sense of healing. This deer person is going to give this cheetah person a lot of healing. So you might not even, as the cheetah person, focus a lot on like your pain or your trauma or anything, whatever is buried in there that makes you sad sometimes. But this deer person is going to really want to help and really figure that out. That's kind of what they're attracted to, is that kind of like sadness that you have, or the kind of like tinge of sadness to your character. Now we know you're a fierce bad bitch, right? Or a bad, what's the term for a guy? Badass, I guess you could say. We know you're a badass. You know you're a BA. That's what my sister used to say with her friends, BA, I guess short for badass. Anyway, we know you're a BA. You're like the baddest, right? But you do have that little bit of sadness underneath that you kind of probably try to push away at times. And, this person really is attracted to that part of you. So you're drawing in a person who's kind of attracted to that part of you. And I know if some of you are thinking like, oh, I hate those psychologist types. Like, I really don't want to like deal with them. I definitely see that this person, although could be painful at times, you're really going to enjoy this connection. And I definitely see that with this friendship card, even though this is focused on love and romance, the underlying core value to this connection is a deep, strong sense of friendship. And that's something that you provide for this dear person, right? And something that they deeply appreciate that you provide. So as far as this cheetah person goes, you might come at it with a really like sexual, intense energy, right? Or you might come at it with a really like robust kind of like, I'm going to take down my prey vibe. And it might start that way. But what we're seeing with the earth sign and the fire sign is this earth energy is going to kind of, just like earth, like if you dump dirt on a fire or a flame, it kind of puts out the flame a little bit. They're going to kind of put your flame out just a bit. And that's only because this relationship is meant to be more, although romantic, and you guys could have like sex and all that good stuff and have a kind of intimate connection, it's not going to be as passionate as relationships that you're used to or that you've been in before. This next person coming in is going to have that definite friendship vibe, going to have that vibe of like, we're really close and we connect really well. We have the same sense of humor, stuff like that. And like stuff that you like do with friends. Like, you know, you might discuss like partners or people you think are attractive with each other, almost like the way friends do. You know, you might be like, oh, he's cute. And then being like, oh yeah, they're cute too. You know, the deer person's really just trying to get on your level as far as the cheetah person goes. And try to like help them with their healing. Because the deer person definitely sees the sadness, but they're at least respectful enough to not point it out right away, right? They're at least respectful enough to see it and know that it's going to take time to heal and that it's not just something that you just open the door with right off the bat, right? But then at the same time, they're kind of putting so it's interesting. You're both putting kind of like a damper on each other's spirits. They're aware that they can't cross this boundary to heal you right off the bat. And you're aware that you can't just take off their clothes and like, you know, like mate with them right then and there, you know, like with this friendship card, it's like you're both putting a damper on each other's kind of like vibes, I guess you could say. But at the same time, it's not that bad. It's like pretty compatible. Like you do feel that vibe of friendship and you do kind of let them in close to you to heal you. And that's kind of an interesting thing here is because what we see, especially with what I'm seeing with you as the cheetah person is you tend to not go deep in your connections or deep in your relationships. With this new moon in Scorpio, it is all about going deeper. I can see that maybe you do want to go deep is what I picked up in the beginning of the reading with this card kind of giving me a message to go deep about this reading. I can see that you kind of like desire to go deep or you want kind of like a deeper connection on the inside. Kind of maybe that's part of where the sadness comes from is wanting kind of like a deeper commitment. But, with the go deeper card, this is just indicating that you're gonna have to go deeper into the connection to get that kind of like power that you want. Like you're gonna have to go deeper with them and they're gonna have to go deeper with you to get on each other's level to really bring out that chemistry that you guys have. Now I know it's gonna be a struggle for you guys to get that chemistry, but it's only because you need to go through some psychological kind of like delving into each other's souls a little bit before, you know, you can put these differences behind you, this fire sign and earth sign differences behind you, because that's kind of canceling out some of your energies right off the bat and making it more of like a friendship vibe. But the more deeper you go in the connection, the more you open up, the more sexual this person's going to be, or the more intimate they're going to want to be, the more you emotionally open up. You can think of this deer person as kind of like demisexual. I just found out what this term meant. I think it's like someone who needs to like be emotionally connected before they can be like physically connected. So this person might be a little more like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, you can tell me what demisexual really means or if there's more context to it. But yeah, this person basically needs that emotional connection before they can connect physically. And I definitely see that you, on the other hand, kind of like don't mind the friendship at first because it's like, you're like, okay, it's almost like you don't mind sacrificing the physical connection. Like, even though that's like who you are, basically, it's almost like you're okay with like leaving that to the wayside just to have the friendship for a little bit while this person enters your life. And so it's like go deeper just means that there's also a sense of like timing, right? Like timing's the wrong word. A sense of, how much time is going to take for this connection to flourish and develop, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So you guys just slow each other down a bit in the connection. And so it's indicated that the deeper you go, the faster things will speed along. And that's for you specifically as the cheetah person, you know, because I see this deer person as kind of like taking their time. I mean, it's in a strange sense with this 5 of Cups right here. The deer person could feel internally somewhat disappointed in the connection until it gets deeper, until it goes deeper. It's almost like they can't see the good in the relationship until they know your deeper self, basically. It's hard for them to see the good in the relationship until they know your deeper self. So that's just something that's coming through right here with this 5 of Cups. I see here with well, let's start with these outside cards first. We'll get into that first. So first of all, the deer person, when they're coming to you, they're looking for something that's a little more isolated, a little more alone time, a little more something away from the world. With the Hermit card, and with this light, with the Hermit card and this light over here, and he's shining it over onto the rest of this reading. There's an element of they want to bring their wisdom and they want to help guide you through some of these darker parts in your life, right? They're trying to shine this light, this star, this sense of hope onto your life and those deeper aspects of sadness that are within you. And so that's something that they're starting with. With the Cheetah card, you're starting with the Empress, where you're like, I am abundant, I am powerful, I am strong. And with the Empress card, this is kind of reminding me of being fertile. It's almost like it's like I don't know if cycle's the right word. It's almost as if like it's like springtime, right? And it's time for the cheetah to mate. And it's like, I need a partner, or like, I want someone, you know? And so you're on the hunt, you're like looking, and you see this scrumptious deer over here. And you're like, I want that, you know? And so the Empress card is just reminding me of this like fertile springtime vibe. You see little bunnies in this card. And even up there, you see little like bees buzzing by her head. This is indicating like, you know, this is the time when you want a partner, you're feeling it, you're in the mood and you're ready, you know, you're a fertile cheetah and you're ready to like go for this deer. Yeah, this could also indicate like experiences with money and abundance and just feeling like the universe is like benefiting you in the present moment, or feeling like things are going really well for you, right? That could be something that's happens when you first encounter this person, or how you know this person's coming in is because of this sense of abundance. With the Guru card, when you build a connection with this person, you definitely want something that's more traditional, as far as like a more traditional relationship. Like maybe you want the kind of like typical intimacies of a connection, but maybe this person wants to like, you know, date you or be exclusive, but like not have the sex a factor right away or something like that. But I'm definitely seeing with the Guru card, you want something that's more traditional. You want something that's more according to society standards. And I'm seeing that as being like kind of a sort of sense of conflict. Like while you're focusing on like trying to make this the kind of relationship that's like normal, I guess you could say, the deer person, we'll just be honest, the deer person, although they may appear normal on the outside, or they might look like what you want, they're a little strange on the inside, right? We have the High Priestess and the Hermit card here. The deer person, and if you are a person watching this and you are the deer person, know that I say that you're strange with love. It's just that we have the High Priestess and the Hermit here. The Hermit's like a major introverted card. The High Priestess is a major intuitive card. So this is coming at the point where you're just, it's almost like this person's very individualistic, very different than like what society standards are, as far as like the connection that you would make, or the type of person that, you know, like who they are as far as like their demands, or not their demands, what's the right word? Who they are is like how they fit into relationships, and also how they fit into the world is very idiosyncratic. It doesn't really blend well with everyone else. So you as the cheetah person, who might be quite popular or more focused on like what everyone else thinks, you know, it might be a little different vibe for you. You know, you might be like, okay, well, this is a new vibe for me. I don't really know how to deal with someone who's so individualistic. So that's what we get here with the Guru card. Meanwhile, on the deer's end, they're kind of just feeling a sense of sort of sadness because they don't know your deeper self. The deer will probably keep feeling this sense of sadness because they don't know your deeper self, and it might push them away from intimacy. That's where this Go Deeper card comes into play, right? Because, make sure the camera's still on. That's where the Go Deeper card comes into play, is because you know, the more you go deeper and the more you reveal yourself, the more intimate they'll become, the happier they'll become. Their levels of disappointment are in direct proportion to how much you are sharing about your inner self. Because think of the deer as almost like a empath. You know, they can see someone hurting, and the thing that kind of connects them to people is they want people to heal that part of themselves, right? They want to like heal other people's sorrow so they themselves can feel happy, you know? So you can think of it like that. And the thing with the deer person also, well, we already mentioned this, but the deer person will also open up more on like an intimate physical level, the more the emotional connection gets healed, right? And the thing is like, the more you share with them, the deeper you go, the more they'll get to have this like clear vision. We see vision here with that eye and the High Priestess card. Clear vision of who you are and the connection and the relationship, you know? It's all about them getting like a clear picture, a clear understanding of your soul, your being, everything like that. So this person is like highly psychic and also highly like intuitive, maybe empathic at the same time. They have like quite a few gifts I'm seeing, and that's kind of like what has alienated them from the world for a while. But the thing that keeps them in this connection, that kind of keeps them glued to you, is that it's interesting. It's like, it's weird because you guys like, if you would have met and you would have been like superficial versions of each other, like if the deer person just right away just started digging into your personality and was like, oh, you have this pain and you have this pain, you would have been blocked them off, right? It would have been too intrusive. If you would have gone to this deer person and like hit on them physically and kind of like didn't let this like friendship thing develop, or you kind of like pushed for a physical relationship, but then if they didn't put out, or if they didn't like put out, that sounds so bad. If they didn't like want a physical relationship and you would have backed off, but there's something about it that you're connected to them and there's something about them connected to you. The thing is like, because they're not, it's like the chase. Remember with the cheetah card, there's the aspect of the chase. You want to chase them, right? You want to keep chasing them. So the fact that they're putting up walls, they're putting up boundaries is kind of making you think like, interesting. Like I'm going to keep chasing. I'm going to keep trying. Now it's interesting because the overall modalities are like slightly incompatible. We see that with the earth sign and the fire sign, like I mentioned before. But the thing that keeps you guys attracted to each other and keeps you guys kind of coming back to each other for more, even if it is just a friendship, is the fact that this deer person knows that eventually you might open up and they could do some healing with you. They could give you that healing energy, what we see right here. And on the flip side, with the friendship card, you know that eventually they might kind of cave in and want that kind of physical connection. You know, they allude to it, but maybe they're not in the right mood for it. You know, this is kind of like the card about somewhat of a depression or a pessimistic attitude. They might not be in the right mood for it, right? Yeah, it's interesting because the cards right here with Go Deeper, we get the abilities right here with Go Deeper, you know, right here with the King of Pentacles and the High Priestess, right? In a way, I'm kind of seeing it as like options. Like this cheetah person could go on their merry way and develop this kind of like King of Pentacles attitude where they're like, you know, the king of their own castle. They have all the money in the world. They have all the wealth in the world and stuff like that. And it's almost like you're going to go to this direction anyway, right? But if you want to explore more of this intuitive side or have a more deep intuitive connection with this person, a more healing connection, with Going Deeper, this is the core, right? And this is a new moon, right? This is all about beginnings. And this is all about like starting things and starting new things. So even though this connection develops over a long period of time, I'm going to be honest about that. It looks like it's developing over a long period of time because I'm seeing that you're uncomfortable opening up about your sadness, even though a few people can perceive it in you. You still don't want to like share it with people, you know, and that's a good thing because you want to keep, you want to keep your cards close to your vest. Who wants to open up about their negative feelings just with a stranger? No one. So, I mean, some people maybe do, but I don't see that you like to do that. Yeah, and this dear person is going to wait patiently so they could heal you. That's the kind of like pain that's going on inside is kind of like what draws them to you. So in a way, they're kind of like on the chase too, right? But then it leads with this kind of like friendship over time. And so you guys have this like strong friendship until you go deeper. And the thing I want to reiterate in this connection is like, it's going to stay in this friendship vibe unless you go deeper, unless you start opening up with them, or if you feel comfortable opening up with them, and also with them opening up to you. I see that like it's also on their part where they need to open up to you a little bit. But anyway, going deeper brings you guys this entirely beautiful, intuitive connection where you're really like functioning with each other as like a whole. And I definitely see the cheetah as being more the provider with this King of Pentacles energy, or the fact that this cheetah person is more kind of like, you might be in a position of strength as far as like wealth or financial ability, or even like if it's something like strength as far as like, it could even be something as far as like just physical strength, like maybe you're physically strong enough to protect this deer person from like threats or something. Or it could be psychological strength, like psychologically you're very strong, and uncovering that kind of like healing vibe from you, or the deer healing you, brings this like psychological stability to the deer. Because we definitely see this deer person coming out of this depression and almost like opening their eyes, like their eye becomes open, and it's this element of like, whoa, like I can see clearly now. Like the fact that you kind of like open up and stuff like that, it unlocks their intuition a little bit. So going deeper is really important here. I also want to mention with the King of Pentacles and the High Priestess card, we do have like earth energy and water energy. So there could be an element here. We have waves in the background right here. There could be an element of like this connection going from that kind of like vibe of like disconnect with the fire and earth energy, which is kind of like those kind of energies are more like square to each other, which might be difficult at first, which we're seeing is kind of like the beginning of the connection. It could turn into something with this King of Pentacles and High Priestess where it is kind of like a conjunction kind of vibe, where it's like a powerful energetic connection, still opposites, but more compatible than a square aspect, basically. So I'm definitely seeing like a really strong connection forming in the long run. I'm going to reiterate, in the long run again. And the thing is, this connection might not even form that way. Like if this cheetah person never opens up, and if this deer person, it could just stay a friendship for forever until this cheetah person opens up, and then the deer person feels like they can get intimate. You know, it's one of those connections like that. So I hope that helped. I hope that was deep enough. Let me see if I can see anything else. Just give you guys a little extra something or other before I go on. Yeah, with the new moon in Scorpio, I see this relationship being something very different than either of you have experienced before. You know, you've probably been with very like physical, almost superficial types, people who aren't as individualistic, or how do I put this, as different as kind of like the deer person is. And the deer person's probably never been with someone who, you know, they had a difficult time to heal. The thing is, the deer person is very patient, right? If there's someone with a wound or a psychological trauma or something like that, and they can see it kind of in them, they can be like, yeah, I can kind of see that vibe going on inside you. The deer person is going to wait patiently, like until they can fix it. If that person stays around long enough, the deer's more than happy to have more friends, right? It's rare that people want to be friends with the deer, because I see it with the Hermit and High Priestess energy and this Five of Cups. It's like this person probably is more of a loner, it just instinctively. But they're open to having more friends for sure. If this cheetah person, you know, if you want to stay being the friend, I see that because they're turning down your advances, you want to keep chasing them, you know, and so it kind of creates this interesting kind of like friendship. You know, it just, if you want it to go past that level of friendship, you're going to have to go deeper with the new moon in Scorpio. You're going to have to share your emotions and get deep and down with the healing, because that healing needs to occur before the physical intimacy can occur, basically. Very cool. So I really enjoyed reading for you guys. This was a very fun connection to read for. This is kind of one of those, I can see this could be one of those once in a lifetime connections, something that like really changes your perspective on relationships. So I'm really happy that that's coming for you. With the cheetah person, if you are the cheetah person, it already looks like you're doing very well for yourself. You're just kind of like, it's almost like your psychological wounds don't really affect you too much, you know? So I can see if you choose to go on your merry way and you just keep the friendship going, you pick another relationship or something, you'll still be happy. It's just, it could be more rewarding to kind of get into that psychological, deeper territory with this deer person if you want to go there. So, yeah, I really enjoyed reading for you guys. If you like that reading, feel free to like or comment below. If you really like this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, we're going to move on to group 4 with the Rainbow Obsidian. Hey, group 4 with the rainbow obsidian. I don't know if you can see that. Let me look up close so you can see the little sheen in there, that little color. I think there's some on the back too. Hard to see in this lighting. But there is some rainbow sheen to this obsidian. I got that one in Arizona. And yeah, let's get into your reading. For what is coming towards you in love. All right, so let's get right into it. With the groups, we're going to have you over here and them over there. If it's switched and you really more resonate with this person, it's not that you picked the wrong pile. It's just sometimes with these person A, person B type of things, you might be this person. But I'm going to read as if this person's the protagonist. So if you find you resonate more with this side, that's okay. This reading still applies to you. We'll just focus more on this person and then this person as your person. So let's get into it. Let's see. We got Panther. And we have Gazelle. The last group got a predator-prey vibe, right? And I like reading for those connections because they can be very spicy, you know, and you're both got the fire sign right here. So maybe this is spicy too. We'll have to get the rest of the cards out to see what's going on. But yeah, let's see what we got here for the Gazelle. We have commitment. Wow. What do we have for the Panther person? Let's get one for the Panther person. Oh, as you know, I'm shuffling on camera. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm shuffling all the cards on camera today. And I'm trying something different where when I get the pile, one does not want to come out for the Panther person. What I'm doing is when I finish the pile of one, I'm not putting those cards back into the deck. So that way each group has totally different vibes today. I felt like doing it that way. I'm also not taking reversals today. So, okay, no one's coming out for the Panther, so we're going to have to draw. And we have guarded. And then for this one was not coming out that strongly. Like it's almost like the card did not want to come out for this person. So this might not be as big of a deal as it may seem with this guarded energy. So we'll just keep reading and okay, we have New Moon in Virgo, trust all will be well. Okay. And we got the tarot cards, of course. It wouldn't be Cody Tarot without tarot cards. I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think I've ever done a reading that was all completely oracle cards. You know, I think that all my readings have been has had like some form of tarot cards in it. And I've seen other readers like SO Tarot and stuff do like readings where it's only oracle cards, and I think seem pretty cool. I'm just like scared. I like rely on the tarot, you know. Okay, what else? Let's see what else is coming through for these my people in pile 4, group 4. Okay, I think we're gonna have to draw the rest of them. Draw 2 different ones from down here. Okay. Let's flip these over. We have 7 of Swords and Page of... Oh, that's interesting. Kind of dynamic. Then we also have 6 of Swords. Let's see if that... Okay, that all looks good. Okay. Okay, so I think I've got what's going on here. let's get into the reading. So starting the reading off, we have Gazelle and Panther, and it's quite interesting because both of these are fire creatures, right? We have the fire symbols right up there in the top above each animal. And we also have a predator-prey situation. So we have really strong compatibility as far as like being on the same wavelength with the fire symbols. Both of you are going to be adventurous, playful, like you're going to really enjoy excitement, passion, chemistry. It's all really going to be there in this connection. You get those two fire elements together and you get that fiery, heated, combustive kind of vibe going on that it's really like pleasant for both of you. So there's going to be a lot of passion, a lot of fun, a lot of excitement in the connection is what I'm seeing with both of you. But there is some interesting things here with this kind of connection, and it could go either way. I'm going to be honest, it could go either way, but we're seeing a few things here where, specifically with the commitment vibe, as far as this happens. So the next person coming into play is actually really good for you. As far as like this person's really just, they're so close and connected with you. Everything seems pretty perfect, right? But what I'm seeing here is there's an element with this panther having green eyes and the gazelle having red and yellow in the background. With the orange and yellow right here in the red, it's almost like a lower chakra thing, and this green eyes is like the higher chakra. And what I'm seeing here is it's like this person kind of has more of like a higher perspective of the situation, and it's why they're kind of guarded. So this person's going to come into play, and it's almost like there could be an element too with this Four of Swords card here where you're just at rest for too long and you're like not sure how to really like be in a committed relationship. Because we see here with the gazelle person, they really want commitment, right? They want commitment from you. And with the panther person over here, we see that you're a little bit guarded, right? You're kind of not really like focused on, you know, you don't want to get your heart hurt again. We see the heart here with a shield in front of it and barbed wire. You don't want to get your heart hurt again, right? The shield is there to protect you from that barbed wire. And you don't want to get your heart broken. It's interesting because normally this panther in its like natural form would be like pursuing the crap out of the gazelle. I keep saying Giselle, it's gazelle, I think. Pursuing the crap out of the gazelle and like wanting to make that gazelle their, submit to me, gazelle, and the gazelle's like, okay. Basically they would want that gazelle at a normal, like any other normal time. And this connection would be perfect. It's just, there's a sense of like this timing thing being off. And it's almost like with this Four of Swords card, this panther's been out of the game for too long. So if you're relating to this panther card, as I'm reading for you, there's an element that you've been out of the game for too long. You haven't been in a relationship for a really long time, and it's because your heart was hurt. You're guarded. You don't want to get your heart hurt again. With the panther in the eyes, with that heart chakra, I'm seeing that you're very deeply sensitive. Even though you're a predator animal, normally you're the one who's supposed to be chasing your partner, right? Normally you're the one that's like chasing them, building the connection, getting on their wavelength, making the sexual advances if that's required and everything. But that's like, normally that's your vibe. You're the aggressor, you're the assertive one, but you're not, because of this vibe, this guarded vibe, and this Four of Swords. You've just been out of it for so long. It's like you're dormant. I mean, if you look at this guy, he looks almost dead, like there's just an element of you being like out of commission, And so when this gazelle person comes up and realizes you're the one, right? It's interesting. This gazelle person, interestingly enough, has to be the one to kind of make the advances towards the panther person, even though this panther person is the predator animal. They are the ones normally making the advances. And I see that also throws you off a little bit with someone trying to make advances towards you. But the gazelle person with this Page of Pentacles card, they're really awakened by the sense that like they see someone who can help them practically get things done, right? And they're like in the beginning stages of like trying to awaken their practical energy as far as like their ability to like accomplish tasks, of a more practical nature. So for example, they could be trying to start their own business or something like that. And they're looking for advice from this Panther person about like, okay, I want to like start this business and I want to get this stuff off the ground. Or they have ideas for like practical projects. Maybe they want to renovate their home, but they're not sure how to like buy the correct tools or like get the design or like stuff of that nature. Like they're focused on some kind of practical, pragmatic approach, especially in the relationship. They're kind of seeing it from a pragmatic lens at first. And that's kind of like where they're coming from before they meet the Panther too. That's what initially attracts them to the Panthers, because they see like, oh, this person's probably good at this and this and this, right? As the Panther person, you might like seem like someone who's pretty reliable, pretty good with practical skills, pretty good at like kind of getting things done on a more practical level. Maybe you're either really good with like your finances, or maybe you're really good at like crafting things, or maybe you're physically very strong. And this gazelle person is kind of like looking for someone to kind of help them with that. But whatever the reason is, at the beginning, they're kind of like focused on this vibe of like practical projects with you, basically. Now I see that through up here with the commitment card and the guarded card, there is an element that the gazelle wants a sense of commitment right away, right? Like their strong belief is that like they almost like know for sure that you're the one, and they want that kind of sense of commitment. And I feel that they would like you chasing them, and that would maybe like make them not be wanting to be committed so quickly in a weird way. It's almost like if you were chasing them and they were running away, it's like they also wouldn't be offering the commitment so quickly. So keep that in mind when you're watching this reading. They wouldn't be wanting commitment from you so quickly if you were the one chasing them, right? But now that you're the one resting and recovering, they're the ones who kind of in a way have to do this kind of like chase kind of thing, but they're not really chasing panthers. Gazelles aren't really chasing panthers. So the only thing they can think of is to offer you commitment. So that could just be basically like wanting to get into a relationship right away. This is also a good, strong indication for marriage too. If you guys like further down the line, this might be a good person you might be able to get married to. And we see here that trust all will be well is really important, that a sense of trust is really important in this connection, that throwing it all out there and like having trust and faith in your partner is going to be really important to making this connection flourish. But what I see is it's very difficult for you to accept their proposal, to accept their commitment. We see this here with the Four of Cups. This guy is under this tree, just resting, relaxing, and the universe is offering him this cup, and he's impatient. He says, I have these other cups I'm pondering. I don't want to think about a new cup, and it's like, you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to like overload yourself with cups, but at the same time, that implies that you have multiple people right now. And I'm definitely seeing you're in a rest period away from relationships when this person comes in. Like you're definitely not being active in the romantic sphere with anyone at this point. But it's almost like you hesitate, and it's like you don't want to accept this commitment because you're like in this place of like, it's almost like it blindsides you, you're like focusing on something else, and it's like all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere. It's like, okay, this is too fast. It feels wrong because you're the one that you like to chase. You're the one that likes to chase. And so when someone's chasing you, it feels wrong. It's like, this is not how it's supposed to go. I'm supposed to be the one that chases. But the gazelle person, on the other hand, is like confused. I mean, you have all these cards going back towards them. They're pondering a lot. They're thinking a lot. They're like, why is this happening like this? Like, I'm pretty sure I know this is my person. I know this person would be connected with me. Like I said, with that fire sign right off the bat with both of you, there's a strong sense of compatibility or knowing you're compatible with each other right off the bat. It's just that this panther person in a weird way is blind. I mean, if you look at this panther's eyes that are green, right? The fact that they're a highly sensitive person and they've been hurt before and they're guarded, if their heart's closed off, it's like they practically can't even see. They can't see this gazelle at all, so they're missing that connection, but the gazelle fully sees that connection. So this is kind of the person coming in for you. They really see you clearly. They see that your guys are compatible. You kind of can bridge that you can bridge that commitment and have a really strong thing, but you're just guarded. And so it's taking you a long time to kind of open up to this person. So that's kind of the dynamic for what's coming next in love for you. Let's keep going into it though. With this Six of Swords, this is kind of like the gazelle retreating, like disappointed and retreating. And in the Page of Pentacles, like thinking of a new way to like bring the connection out, or to kind of like get you to like focus on something else other than your guarded thoughts, right? They're in a way trying to open you up, trying to get you, they might do little tactics here and there to get you to be like a predator back to them. Like they might say something offhand that might get you to like be riled up or something like that. Or they might kind of like flirt with you or show off their body a little bit to kind of get you kind of like excited about them. But really, I'm seeing that you're just not there. Like you're so not ready for that kind of connection, that relationship. But it's interesting with this person basically doing that, kind of flirting pretty openly and stuff, and going back and figuring out like, okay, what am I going to do now to like get their attention? You know, I know this is the person for me. You know, they're so strongly sure that you're the person, and then you're just kind of this guarded person. You know, trust all will be well is going to be very important in this connection, and it's kind of the make or break thing with this connection, you know, because these things kind of switch places, right? The gazelle, if you kind of believe that this is going to be a good thing and you drop your guard, the gazelle person will all of a sudden be guarded as you're approaching them, and you'll want commitment with them, and the gazelle person will be kind of like guarded. It'll be back in the dynamics of the playing field, how you normally like it, and how you would normally appreciate that kind of dynamic, right? It would be in that role reversal for you. And it's interesting, we see that you would be retreating, right? Like, and it's interesting because we see that this gazelle person offers you these intellectual insights, right? These epiphanies. The Page of Swords is this card about like, with the bubbling clouds in the background and the butterfly wings and the sword. This is a card about having intellectual thoughts, but kind of like being afraid to share them, or being like cautious with your imagination. And what we see here is like you kind of come over to this person and you kind of like, they swing their sword and you kind of collect these swords and run back to your like little nest where you're sleeping and dream with them and stuff like that. There's this element of like them providing these beautiful imaginings and mental wanderings for you to like kind of like dwell on and stuff and take with you. They're kind of like, you can think of this gazelle person as almost like a storyteller, and they're kind of like creating these ideas. They're kind of like giving you these ideas, which to you is just this like fuel. Like I'm definitely seeing that these ideas kind of like, and the thing is, it's like you still feel like, even when you guys get to this kind of part in the relationship, this trust all will be well is so fundamental to get this commitment going, right? This connection could just fall flat if you don't have trust in your partner. If you don't trust this person, you know, trust that everything's going to be okay, let down your guard, that kind of thing, you know. That's kind of like what is required to have this connection go on. But I'm definitely seeing that like, and I'm not telling you to do that, especially whatever you've been through. If you're really still feeling guarded about it and you need to be guarded, like that's okay. Trust needs to be like earned, and I understand that. So, you know, but if you don't get any red flags, then there is no reason to be guarded. You know, that's what I'm trying to kind of get at, is kind of like, it's okay to be guarded, but like be guarded when it's warranted is basically what I'm trying to say. Anyway, it's interesting when you guys get into this little like connection, you guys get into this little kind of like compatible thing where this person's like flying and floating around and this person's like stealing the swords they're providing. And this Page of Swords is just pulling them out of thin air, giving them to this person. And it's almost like you feel like you have to be like coy with this. Like you have to kind of like approach them strategically to get these ideas out of them, or to like find some kind of little bit of information that you want, you know. The gazelle person might be the type of person who kind of seems like they kind of keep all the information to themselves. They might seem very secretive and stuff. And you might be the type of person who's kind of like, okay, I want to figure out these secrets. I want to kind of get down and vibe with kind of like what's going on in their mind, see what's going on in their mind. And with trust, all will be well. The more you trust in this connection, the more you can get this kind of fun intellectual communication. I'm seeing a very intellectual vibe here. Because we have sword, 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 sword. We have 4 swords cards. So there's a lot about like intellect and kind of like logic and communication and stuff like that. So yeah, let's see if I can see anything else. Yeah, it's interesting because the gazelle kind of sees you through the practical realities component, but they're actually really good at determining whether they're compatible with someone based on these practicalities, based on these practical realities. That's just kind of how they view things. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. It's not about like actually helping them with these practical things. It's about the compatibility with those things. Kind of like what do you naturally do on your own with you? It's not like someone's going to be coming up to you and being like, you know, help me, you know, build my house, you know, and you'd be like, oh, I don't want to help you build your house. It's almost like stuff that you would do automatically. They just judge based on that. That's kind of how they figure out how they're really committed or connected to people, is based on the practical realities. But like overall with that fire sign connection, I just really see that you guys have a really creative, intense, kind of romantic connection that could develop if you just trusted in each other, you know? With new moon in Virgo, Virgo is an earth sign. Earth signs are all about stability. With the new moon in Virgo, it's just indicating that there is going to be this new sense of stability with this person coming into play. And that's kind of the element you have to almost surrender to in order to get the connection that you want out of this person. Like I said, this person is coming in. This is by no means someone you do have to commit to. If you're not ready, this person will come in and kind of go on by, you know? They're going to make a few attempts. They're going to make a few attempts to try with you. But if you don't surrender the trust, nothing can really happen in the connection. So, yeah, yeah. But you guys are pretty much compatible. You're going to feel that right away. Even if you're not like surrendering or whatever, dropping your guard, like on a superficial level without having to get too intense, you'll feel that you're compatible with this person. It's just, that's kind of the thing, is like, if you're not getting red flags, or if there's no red flags, then you might as well drop your guard, right? That's kind of the indication here. This is just kind of a thing the universe is throwing your way. This is what's coming next in love, because they're kind of seeing if you're ready. You know, are you going to drop the guard? Are you not going to drop the guard? If you do, this is what you get. You know, you kind of get this kind of cool, committed relationship. If you want to keep the guard up, then, you know, it's going to pass you by and you'll kind of keep going into this slumber a little bit longer, more into that hibernation mode, you know? So, yeah. So, that was the end of your reading. If you liked the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, you can subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, we're going to move on with the last group, group 5 with the rose quartz. Thanks again for watching. Hey group 5, this is if you picked the rose quartz. It's the last reading. I'm finishing up all the groups with group 5. I'm a little loopy because, but that's like my thing when I do readings apparently, is like when I do a lot of readings back to back and stuff, I get really lightheaded, really faint, I guess. Weird, it like takes energy out of me. But, I still enjoy doing them, like thoroughly. Love doing tarot readings, for sure. It's like one of my biggest passions. But man, you get tired afterwards. Okay, let's get into your reading. So let's get your animal oracle card. Just real quick, you could be either side. I'm reading as if you're this person, but if you relate more to this person, you're probably this person. It's not that you picked the wrong pile, it's just that there's 2 people in this pile, so you could relate to one or the other based on the situation or what's going on. So keep that in mind, and let's get into your reading. Oh, we have our first card. We have the peacock card for you, and the butterfly card for them. These cards are flying out pretty quickly. Let's see if the Love Story Oracle cards fly out pretty quickly. Let's see what you got. Support. Oh, it's nice. I got another one with hands. I just saw a flash of another card with 2 hands on it. So that might be significant, is like holding hands, or something about this person's hands could be really attractive to you when they come into your life. Let's see what we can get for the butterfly person for a Love Story Oracle card. I'll have to draw. Influence. Interesting. Honestly, today we've gotten a lot of people who are compatible, at least on a superficial level. It looks like people are picking the right partners as far as like people they're really going to vibe with in most of the readings today, actually. So that's really cool. Let's get your Moonology Manifestation card. Last quarter moon in Leo, lighten up. Okay. Let's see. Then we're going to draw some tarot cards for this connection. I'm not taking reversals with the tarot cards, by the way, so keep that in mind. Not taking all these. Okay, we'll take these two. And we need 2 more cards. Ace of Pentacles. Oh, and the Sun. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's get into your reading. All right, so this reading was interesting to read when I do the first view over everything because there's a lot of things happening that don't seem connected, and usually the story is a little more connected together with things, but we're just going to read the cards and maybe it'll start connecting as I keep reading. So with butterfly and peacock, you're both air sign animals, and if you have heard any of the other piles or you're with a friend watching this reading or something, you'll know that this is a good sign for your compatibility with your next person, the next person coming into you with love. And there's a few things here. With the peacock and the butterfly, first of all, both of you are very, very attractive, very, very beautiful. And the thing is, both of you have more focus on your feminine natures, right? So, and we also, interestingly enough, we have kind of like a delicate situation, right? Not a delicate situation, but a situation where you're both kind of delicate beings, coming together. So, in a way, you're both very refined. You're very sophisticated. Especially the peacock person is elegant and beautiful manners, and this kind of vibe reminds me of someone being super sophisticated. And with the peacock here and the butterfly, this butterfly is an insect and the peacock's a bird, so we do have a predator-prey kind of thing going on. So we have the peacock as the initiator, kind of making the chase towards the butterfly. And at the same time, we have the butterfly but at the same time, it's interesting. There's an element of a chase here, but with the air signs, both of you are going to be kind of focused on freedom. You're going to kind of like your, how do I put this? You're going to like your own space. You're going to like your own space away from each other. There's not really any possessive attitudes here, which is really wonderful. With the peacock spirit, or with the peacock card, we'll see all these little eyes up here in his eye right here. This person's really watchful. This peacock's very, very observant. They know exactly what's going on at any given time, no matter what. They're very, very observant. And at the same time, with the Page of Cups card right here, they're very tuned into the universe. They have a natural childlike curiosity towards things in the universe, as far as things happening, magical things happening, synchronicity, stuff like that. Now, the butterfly person, on the other hand, right here, with this nine of wands card, this person's probably a little tired when you meet them, probably a little exhausted. They've probably been dealing with a lot. I see this person either, that's normally the 10 of wands, which is taking on too many responsibilities, but the 9 of wands is kind of before that, before the strength of being able to take on those responsibilities. You have kind of the weaker moment of can I handle this? Have I been in the same place for too long? Do I need to move forward? Am I feeling a little too guarded? But I'm definitely seeing here that with this 9 of wands, this is really the only kind of card indicating a negative connotation in this reading, indicating that overall this connection, especially this pink color in this card right here, and you guys picking the rose quartz, makes me think of this light, beautiful, romantic, really easygoing connection that's really going to be beneficial to both of you. But yeah, with this 9 of wands card right here, this butterfly has been stuck in one position for too long. They kind of need liberation. Imagine this butterfly in a jar with, little, a kid put this butterfly in a jar and they poked holes in it and it can breathe and stuff, but it's still weak because it needs to be out flying around. So the cool thing about this connection, right, this butterfly may have been with kind of a more claiming type in the past, maybe I don't know, I'm trying to think of types that are more claiming. Anyway, they could have been with someone who was more jealous or possessive in the past, and so, or in a situation that's jealous or possessive. So it might not even be a person. This person could be involved in a situation where it's like their job demands a lot of their attention, or their family demands a lot of their attention, or they're doing a lot for other people. It's like there's something about being demanded or claiming or kind of being worn down by someone or something or some position that they've been in that's kind of affecting them negatively, right? And so this peacock person, on the other hand, can see this so clearly. I mean, with the Page of Cups here, this person's very intuitive. Now it's interesting, this person might be, the peacock person might be a water sign with maybe some air placement. So if that resonates for you guys, if you're watching this and you resonate with the peacock, then take that as you will. It's not necessary to resonate with the reading, but if you do, it's just extra confirmation. But yeah, the peacock person immediately with the butterfly person sees someone that they want to support. That's where the support card comes into play. They see them kind of fluttering around and they think like, I want to support them. I want to help take care of them. I want to be that kind of provider for them, you know? And they're the one that's going to initiate that. They're kind of the one that's going to initiate this situation with this butterfly person, kind of being like offering them this for the most part would be you guys. So there's a sense of like you guys offering them support, offering them kindness, offering them a place to like for example, if the moment you met them or the moment this is just an example, this might not be exactly what happens between both of you, but if there's a situation where this butterfly person is out, you know, and you meet them out in a bar or something and they're like, you know, you talking about like, you know, let's hang out tonight or let's like go back to each other's places or something like that. This butterfly person might be like, look, I can't have you at my place because there's just things going on. So the peacock person instantly is like, of course you can come to my place. You know, the peacock person is going to offer their home, their resources, stuff like that to help this butterfly person out. And I'm definitely seeing that it's not just like, you don't have to be like rich to be the peacock person. I'm just saying the peacock person has this sense of elegance and sophistication and kind of like presence, I guess you could say, that kind of like, and they're very aware of what's going on. They know how to support this butterfly person. It's going to feel so natural and so easy because we have these two air sign connections right here. So this is going to feel like almost like second nature to you, to how to support this butterfly person. And I'm using practical examples of how to support them. But if you're reading this, if you're watching this reading, you're resonating with the peacock, it does not have to be practical support. It could be emotional support. It could be physical support. It could be intellectual support. Whatever that support is that you're providing for this butterfly person, they're really going to appreciate it. Now, I see something about them that's quite interesting. That's just a factor to be pointed out initially. This butterfly person is going to have a very seductive voice, right? With this orange and blue in their wings, that's indicating the throat chakra and a little bit of the sacral chakra. So there's something about their vocals being very creative or emotional, or their voice being very emotional or melodious, I guess is the best way to put it. They could be very creative with their voice. They could be the type of person who, like we're seeing over here, they are very creative. They could be the type of person who kind of they could cast spells or practice magic. And eventually this is going to translate in the connection, although I see it coming later than the support. I see the support happening first. This butterfly person is going to seem very vocally seductive to the peacock person. Eventually, the peacock person is going to find that their voice is very familiar and grows on them over time. And they'll find that the influence of the butterfly person really helps the peacock person in their life. So something about the words or the intellect. I'm also seeing this as kind of like the third eye chakra as well. The influence of this butterfly person on the peacock person is really going to help them in their life as well. So the support goes both ways, right? Because the butterfly eventually starts to influence the peacock person, especially when the butterfly person gets back on their feet and they're flying around, you know? Both of these two creatures, people, love freedom. So there's that element where you guys are going to let yourselves kind of roam, be free, not really have too many controlling attitudes towards each other. There's an element of letting the other one fly and not being too worried where they run off to, knowing that they're going to always kind of come back, you know. It's kind of the vibe of like that nature. Yeah, lighten up is important because what I see here is that this peacock person being so elegant and being very observant of the real world and being very observant of things going on around them, and also tuned in universally as well, kind of having a spiritual component backing them. This peacock person, if you're watching this and you're the peacock, you're the real deal. Like, you are kind of like that. You kind of have best of both worlds, basically. We see with lighten up, there is an element of like, first of all, the peacock lightening the butterfly's load by like helping them with that support in their life and helping get them through those tough times with the 9 of Wands right here. We're also seeing that the butterfly person is encouraged to kind of help the peacock person lighten up. There's an element of like both of you guys becoming lighter through the connection. With last quarter moon in Leo, I believe this is the quarter moon that's like right. Is this before the full moon? Well, I'm reading it as like before the full moon. So I'm seeing the moon right here and I'm seeing this is like before the full moon. So there's an element where you guys come to this connection. Like, most of you are coming to this connection like mostly healed. Like, you're at a point in your life where most of your problems, your situations, stuff in life is all mostly healed. And you're coming to a place of like almost actualization. Like, you've been actualizing yourselves and you're coming to this connection to fully complete that actualization and really enjoy the connection, was what we see right here. Something else that might come into play with the Ace of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles right here. The peacock person might, with the Ace of Pentacles, bring monetary support or some kind of support or project to the butterfly person. The butterfly person might be some type of like craftsman in some way, which way or form. There might be something the butterfly person does again and again and again. And this peacock person is providing kind of like these resources for the butterfly person to keep this position going. So for some examples for this could be the butterfly person could be like a craftsman, you know, and the peacock person is bringing them supplies and they craft with those supplies. You know, maybe the butterfly person is an artist and the peacock person like pays for their artistic supplies just so they can watch them kind of create and get these kind of projects off the ground. There's something the butterfly person does over and over again. I'm seeing the butterfly person has a repetitive kind of habit, something they do over and over again, and the peacock person brings inspiration. This can also be something where the butterfly person has like an intellectual project, right? This is another example. And the peacock person brings ideas and prospects and little seeds of thought for this person to work on. So there really is this kind of nice symbiotic relationship where the peacock person supports them and the butterfly person with the influence supports the peacock person. Yeah, this is a really wonderful connection from what I'm seeing so far. This is just really like peaceful, like collected, calm. It's like a really beautiful, lighthearted thing going on. I definitely see like a really positive connection. With the Sun card and I'm actually really surprised because most of the readings today have been very beneficial, very positive. So maybe a lot of people coming to this reading are like ready for something really real, you know, something really like true for them. You know, anyway, with this, basically with this peacock person, they soon realize that like this sense of giving and helping and supporting this person brings them such positivity and light and happiness. They feel freer, or like they're like a child again, basically. Like they can really be themselves and like how they were when they were like youthful. Like we see here with the peacock, they have kind of like an elegant outer shell. They have kind of like a effect of like, how do I put this? Of kind of like an outer sophistication, kind of like, I wouldn't say stiff, but there's also almost an element of not loosening up, not kind of being free or being more yourself or being playful. They have more of a stoic type of vibe in the beginning of this connection. And in the Sun card, they get this kind of lightning, playful mindset, playful mood. And the butterfly person, interestingly enough, they get into a lot of action with this person. The butterfly person feels like they can feel more energized and more active and take on more responsibilities in their life. We even in this 8 of Wands card right here, we have butterflies on this 8 of Wands card, you know, flying around with these sticks, you know. So the butterfly is really going to feel in their element. I'm also seeing the butterfly person finding a solid group of friends once they get this support and having like maybe three friends or something, or a group that they work with to kind of like get things done or be in a really positive mindset. I see the peacock person enjoying the fact that this butterfly person can fly off and have like all these different friends that they're very like-minded and similar people that can like hang out and communicate and talk and stuff like that. So the peacock's really happy about that they get to like watch this butterfly person soar and be themselves. It's almost like the peacock person with these eyes and stuff, they're very observant, so they just kind of like to watch what's going on. Even though they're kind of like the predator in this kind of relationship and they initiate the actions, I'm definitely seeing like sexually or intimately, the peacock kind of initiating the actions with the butterfly person or kind of providing the physical component in the connection. But yeah, the butterfly person bringing back these stories, I see that with this person kind of like being with their friends and stuff and kind of collaborating on those projects and working here. With the influence card, their vocals being creative with their words and vocally, the peacock person enjoys just listening to this butterfly person talk because they're just like, it just brings them positivity. Like they become this sun, they become happiness itself, they become optimism itself, they become positivity itself. So honestly, this is a really positive connection. I would say that the next person coming in for you guys is probably soulmate material, something really just really vibey. With Lighten Up, this is the only thing is you want to just make sure that you're not getting too serious all the time. And like, if there ever is a moment for laughter or playfulness, to not squelch it out. That's the only thing I'm seeing here is that there's plenty of time for like work and there's plenty of time for projects and there's plenty of time to like, you guys are still supporting each other and stuff, but there's plenty of time to like think about all the practical stuff. But there's not that much time to think about the lighter stuff and have fun and really enjoy each other's company in a lighthearted way. And I'm saying that's going to bring you guys the most happiness over the long run. So you might as well start indulging in it now. It's not going to take away from the other stuff. It's just a matter of like, of orientation, you know, like living life, like thinking of the values you want to live life with and kind of like living those values basically. Okay, I think that's about it for this pile. Let me see if I can see anything else. I see with this support card, you guys are going to be like with each other, like to the end, you know? And I definitely see hand holding as a really strong, intimate component with you guys. With the Sun card also, this might be a connection where if you want to have children, you could possibly have children with this person. And I see there's kind of like this just simpatico connection. I mean, it's like on a deeper level, you guys get along. These two cards right here are very positive cards, both cards about happiness and manifestation. And then we have the air signs over here. So overall, just a really positive connection. I can't iterate that again enough. This next person coming in is going to be, this is almost like marriage material if you want to get married or if you're looking for a long-term partner. This is definitely vibes for like creating a long-term connection with someone. So if you're looking for that, this is a good experience where you could get that. Lovely. So if you enjoyed that reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, that was the last group for today's pile. I really enjoyed reading for you guys today. It was a lot of fun. I always feel better after the last pile. It's like I get that pick-me-up. It's like I start to feel drained or something right before the last pile, and then the last pile comes in, and there's always like this pick-me-up. Not always, but like usually when I'm feeling that extra bit of tiredness, there's like a really positive vibe right at the end, you know, that kind of picks you up. And that's kind of what I'm noticing with this pile, especially with the rose quartz and Lighten Up. It's just a really cool pile. Anyway, okay, I could go on forever. Anyway, so yeah, it was fun reading for you guys. I will see you guys in the next pick a card. Bye.